Hello there, people on the internet. This is a video, it's probably the first video I've ever put up on my channel. It's not about beats and doesn't have the standard tunes to tube thumbnail image in the on the screen. Now there's actually me talking and there is content on the screen. So this is what kind of brought on this video was that I signed into my Dropbox today. I've had it for years. I'd stopped paying for it for a little while. I just tried some different cloud service providers, but I came back to this one and I still had an account. Just interesting thing is, if you get Dropbox and you fill it up and just stop paying for it, they don't delete your stuff. They just kind of leave it there. So I come back to it. I still had a whole bunch of stuff, way more than the 2 gigabyte limit. I forget. I think they said you're all 2,000% over your limit or something like that. So anyway, I signed back into there today, and I found these that I had uploaded real far back. I think I was still in high school when I made these. I'm in college now, but made these a long time ago, and they were beats that I had to just make with the standard Windows Midi sounds, and they're pretty terrible sounding. I think the music stuff is okay, like the musicality. Like if you were to take the MIDI file and put it into some other program, it would probably sound pretty good. But the actual sounds used are they're pretty terrible. So, and I'm of the opinion that if you don't have a lot, you have to get creative. So I didn't really have a lot of sounds here to do a whole lot with, and I had a very limiting program to work with. So I just did what I could. But so here you see this folder. It's called MIDI project. It's got about 18 different MIDI files in it. We're just going to come through and see what my old beats from back in the day sounded like, using the Windows sounds, MIDI sounds to create trap music. So this first one here, and you'll see this opens in a program called Quick Windows Sequencer, and it's a program that's created for blind and visually impaired people to sequence MIDI accessibly. Now there are better programs out there like Reaper. That's pretty accessible. I've never had the patience to learn. I use Logic Pro X to make all my beats. But before I had a Mac or I had Logic, I had a Windows computer. I had a Dell Inspiron computer with 6 gigabytes of RAM and a slow even an SSD. It was an HDD. It was slow, let me tell you. So I just had to use what I had. So here we are. I got this beat called Basic Hip Hop Beat, and we'll just play it here. So that's the Windows piano there, and that's pretty vintage sounding synth from the collection that they give you. Those trap sounds sound very good. Yeah, if you just listen to them, they don't sound terrible. They just don't sound very amazing either. Kind of like that. Now you'll notice I had to use a bass guitar sound rather than an actual 808 sound like it should. Oh, and look at this. Whoops. 180. You know why I had to make it go that fast so I could get those hi-hats to roll like they would? Because I don't think I had an option in here to sequence any more than 16th notes. So I would have to sequence them at about 90 beats per minute, then speed them up. And that's how I got them to sound like I wanted and get those rolls in there. And I wasn't that great at making beats back then, but I don't know, if I were to take like a beat that I make now and put it like in Logic, take a MIDI file and put it into here, I don't know what it would sound like. It would probably sound terrible, just like this does. But like I say, I think the musicality is okay. The beats themselves don't sound very good. So let's look at another one here. Metal. No, it's, I'm gonna think this one, I remember this one being pretty good. Oh, I think I used more than, I used the whole drum kit there. This is just the synth. I don't know why it sounds like it does. I didn't mean for it to have that fifth sound. Here's just the drums. And you'll notice I had to layer the snare on top of the clap sound to get a different sound. Alright, using those claves. China cymbal. So yeah, that's kind of more or less what all the beats are going to sound like. You just don't have a whole lot of samples to work with. They like, if you take a look at like this list here of instruments, you can scroll way down, and you do have a lot of presets and instrument options, but they all just kind of sound the same. You know what I'm saying? So let's. Lit idea that was messed up by my gay computer. I think that's when I like to call everything gay, when that was popular back then. I don't really hear this metal one though. That's not a hip hop beat, I know it, but let's see what this sounds like. Wow, that doesn't sound too terrible bad. The drums suck and there's no bass guitar. There's a guitar solo. Wow. You know, for being a MIDI file, and well, not a MIDI file, but using those MIDI sounds to create metal, actually wasn't amazingly terrible. Now let's see what the tempo was though. Only 145. Wow, and I didn't even have to speed it up to get those sounds either. So not too bad. Let's see what else we got. Ringtone. That's funny. I think Soul R&B Beat is already on my channel, and that was one that I made in Logic, or in Quick Window Sequencer, and I put it into Logic, and changed the instrument assignments around a little bit. Got a little bit of a better sound, but this was the original file. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's what R&B would sound like. Kind of a, I don't even know if I could call that R&B. It's kind of a slower beat. Didn't really make it an R&B beat, but yeah, I guess that's what that would sound like. That's what all these would sound like if they were. What I need to do is I need to get a MIDI file of a Logic project and put it in here and see if it's what it sounds like. But those are the samples that I had to work with. Those crappy drum samples, and didn't really have a whole lot. If you look back far enough on my channel, you'll see the Yamaha YPG recordings that I had. And originally my channel was called Yamaha Music because I created my music on a Yamaha keyboard, and I only had 6 tracks, and I didn't have very many instruments to work with, like I say, and a lot of the drum kits on there were just the same, and then they would just change like 10 samples, and kind of sucks. But like I say, I really believe that creativity comes out in you when you don't have a lot of work with. You just kind of have to think about how to get around, how to come up with interesting ways to use what you got. So that's cool. Um, I don't know what exactly is cool. I just kind of said that, but that's kind of what I wanted to show you here. Just kind of what hip hop would sound like if it were created on the Windows sounds with the Windows Midi synthesizer. I don't know what that thing's called. Maybe it's called Microsoft GS Wavetable Synth. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, that's a crazy bunch of sounds. But that's what I used. So, if you're ever on a setup like this, don't let it stop you. You can sure do a lot with a little. So, well, thank you all for watching. That's all I have for you. Oops.